Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Tina Jha. 27th March 2019 will go down as a glorious day in the history of India. It was on this day that India joined an elite club of countries who possess an anti-satellite technology. The technological mission, named Mission Shakti, was led by DRDO with an aim to strengthen India's overall security. Experts say the capability of attacking a satellite in an orbit closer to Earth will give a tactical weapons edge to the country. Today in Depth, we talk about Mission Shakti and its significance for the country. We also trace the history of the anti-satellite technology and also find out which countries possess this specialized mechanism. On 27th March, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that India had demonstrated anti-satellite missile capability by shooting down a live satellite. In an address to the nation, the Prime Minister announced the success of space operation Mission Shakti, describing it as a rare achievement that puts India in an exclusive club of space superpowers. Mission Shakti, led by the Defence Research and Development Organization, is aimed at strengthening India's overall security and also technological advancement. The ASAT missile shot down a predetermined target orbiting at an altitude of 300 kilometers within 3 minutes of launch, with remarkable precision and technical capability. Prime Minister Modi asserted that India's action was not directed against any country and that it was a test of the country's capability. India has now become only the fourth country in the world to test an anti-satellite weapon after the United States of America, Russia and China.
कुछ ही समय पूर्व हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने अंतरिक्ष में, स्पेस में 300 किलोमीटर दूर LEO, लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट में एक लाइव सैटेलाइट को मार गिराया है। LEO, लो ऑर्बिट में यह लाइव सैटेलाइट, जो कि एक पूर्व निर्धारित लक्ष्य था, उसे एंटी सैटेलाइट ASAT मिसाइल द्वारा मार गिराया गया है। सिर्फ 3 मिनट में सफलतापूर्वक यह ऑपरेशन पूरा किया गया है। मिशन शक्ति यह अत्यंत कठिन ऑपरेशन था। भारत हमेशा से ही अंतरिक्ष में हथियारों की होड़ के विरुद्ध रहा है और इससे इस नीति में कोई बदलाव नहीं आया है। आज का यह परीक्षण किसी भी तरह के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानून अथवा संधि समझौतों का उल्लंघन नहीं करता है। हम आधुनिक तकनीक का उपयोग देश के 130 करोड़ नागरिकों की सुरक्षा एवं उनके कल्याण के लिए ही करना चाहते हैं। भारत ने आज अपना नाम अंतरिक्ष महाशक्ति, स्पेस पावर के रूप में दर्ज करा दिया है। अब तक दुनिया के 3 देश, अमेरिका, रूस और चीन को यह उपलब्धि हासिल थी। अब भारत चौथा देश है जिसने आज यह सिद्धि प्राप्त की है। हर हिंदुस्तानी के लिए इससे बड़े गर्व का पल नहीं हो सकता है।
Reacting to the successful anti-satellite missile test, President Ramnath Kovind called it a watershed moment for India. He said the anti-satellite missile test demonstrates India's scientific prowess and commitment to harnessing space technology for the security and empowerment of people. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also congratulated the scientists on the successful test and said the nation was proud of them. Several political leaders also reacted to the launch. In a series of tweets, Union Minister Harsh Vardhan congratulated the scientists of ISRO and DRDO on the success of the mission. He said India is now capable of defending itself on land, air, water, and now space. Home Minister Rajnath Singh called the achievement glorious and said the successful mission will strengthen India's defense capabilities.
इसका पूरा प्रक्रिया 2014 के बाद जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अनुमति दी और हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने इस शोध का कार्य किया है। जो पुराने युद्ध होते थे और जो अगले युग के युद्ध होंगे वो अलग अलग होंगे। इस विश्व की उस जियोपॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन में हैं जिसमें हमारी तैयारी ही हमारा सबसे बड़ा डेटरेंट है। भारत की केवल शक्ति ही नहीं बढ़ेगी, हमारी क्षमता की इस क्षेत्र के अंदर हम शांति कायम रखें।
BJP President Amit Shah also hailed the achievement of the scientists. At the same time, he hit back at the opposition parties after several party leaders accused the Prime Minister of playing politics over scientists' achievements. In a tweet, Shah alleged that the UPA lacked courage to support institutions and people. Union Minister Arun Jaitley also accused the previous government at the centre of lacking capability and clarity.
मुझे लगता है कि बालाकोट और पुलवामा में एक ऐतिहासिक भूल करने के बाद इतिहास ने हिंदुस्तान के विपक्ष को एक और अवसर दिया उस गलती को सुधारने का, कि जब हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने अब देश की ताकत बढ़ाई है, कम से कम उस देश के विश्वास के साथ, देश के कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ, उन वैज्ञानिकों के साथ तो खड़े होकर अपना दायित्व निभाइए।
The Ministry of External Affairs said in a statement that India has no intention of entering into an arms race in outer space. In a 10-point detailed explanation, the MEA said the test was carried out to verify India's capability to safeguard space assets and that it was not directed against any country. The MEA also said the test was done in the lower atmosphere to ensure there is no space debris. The reaction from the MEA came after Pakistan in a written statement said that it was against the militarization of outer space. China reacted in a guarded manner to India's test and expressed hope that all countries will uphold peace and tranquility in the outer space. The United States in a statement said it was still studying the outcome of the test carried out by India, but voiced concern over space debris. Let's now understand what ASAT technology is. ASAT or anti-satellite weapons are essentially missiles that are used to destroy or disable satellites. With Mission Shakti, India has joined the elite group of countries with anti-satellite capabilities, demonstrating to the world that it is capable of protecting its space assets. Here's a look at how the ASATs work and also their potential. With the launch of ASAT, India crossed yet another space frontier. Joining the elite club of nations with anti-satellite weapon capability, on 27th March, India conducted Mission Shakti, an anti-satellite missile test at the Integrated Test Range in Chandipur, Odisha. The target used in the mission was a live Indian satellite flying in a low Earth orbit. The missile hit the target within 3 minutes of its launch with a high degree of precision after traveling 300 kilometers from Earth.
Anti-satellite missile is an interceptor missile which can fly at high speeds and reach the altitudes in which the satellite is orbiting. Generally, low Earth orbit satellites orbit between 300 to 400 kilometers altitude. So, you have to reach that altitude with a missile and then hit that satellite so that it can be destroyed. This is called the anti-satellite mission.
ASATs or anti-satellite weapons are essentially missiles that destroy or jam an enemy country's satellite in space. The ASATs home in on satellites in the low Earth orbits that may have been used for spying or military actions and disable as well as destroy them. ASAT weapons are of two kinds, kinetic or non-kinetic. Kinetic ASATs physically strike an object in order to destroy it like ballistic missiles, while non-kinetic ASATs are the ones where non-physical means are used to disable or destroy a space object like frequency jamming or blinding lasers. The theoretical maximum range of the ASAT weapons is limited, which means satellites above 20,000 kilometers are out of range. In this case, India used DRDO's Ballistic Missile Defense Interceptor as anti-satellite weapon. This is part of India's ongoing ballistic missile defense program. India conducted the test to show that the nation has the capability to safeguard its space assets. However, the government made it clear it has no intention of entering into an arms race in outer space. While no country has ever used ASAT weapons in wars, their potential cannot be ruled out. ASATs can intercept and jam communication or military satellites of enemy countries. They can also access critical information about troop movements or incoming missiles. ASATs can even launch cyber attacks on space systems, direct laser-based weapons.
Other than the interceptor, there are a large number of other elements which are required for doing this job. First element which is needed is when the satellite is moving in the orbit, I should be able to track it from the ground to find out what is the speed of the satellite and what is the position of the satellite in real time. Every 1 second, where does it move? This information is gathered by a radar, and that information is processed by the mission control center, and the mission control center then finds out whether it is really a satellite or it is any other object. It could be a missile of some other, or it could be an aircraft or anything. So, this is called discrimination of the target. Once the target is identified as satellite, then depending upon the speed of the satellite and depending upon the orbit in which it is doing, the interceptor is launched by a launch control center. Now, this entire process is automated. When to launch the interceptor, in which direction to launch the interceptor, everything is decided by the computer. And as soon as the interceptor takes off, the information about the position of the satellite in the orbit is communicated to the interceptor in real time every 1 second, and based upon that information the interceptor changes its course and moves towards the satellite. It has got a kinetic kill vehicle called KKV. This KKV has got a homing seeker, in imaging infrared seeker. So, this opens up and this starts looking for the satellite based upon whatever information has been fed to it from the ground, and it acquires the target. And once it acquires the target, now no information is needed from the ground. It automatically homes on to the particular satellite of our interest. Whatever error is there is corrected by the kill vehicle, which has got very precise divert thrusters which move the kill vehicle laterally up and down and then hit the target.
In Mission Shakti, India did not violate any international space treaty. It destroyed its own satellite flying in a low Earth orbit. This was done to ensure there is no space debris, and the little debris generated will decay and fall back on Earth within weeks. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. The anti-satellite test has made India only the 4th country in the world after the US, Russia and China to acquire the strategic capability to shoot down enemy satellites. The test also led to guarded reactions from several countries, including Pakistan, China, as well as the United States of America. While China expressed hope that all countries will uphold peace and tranquility in the outer space, Pakistan, in a written statement, said it was against the militarization of outer space. But what exactly is the Outer Space Treaty, and which are the countries who are members of this treaty? We find out in our next report.
The Outer Space Treaty forms the basis of international space law. The treaty was opened for signature in the United States, United Kingdom and the Soviet Union on 27 January 1967. It came into force on 10 October 1967. The Outer Space Treaty prohibits any weapons of mass destruction in outer space and does not ban military activities or conventional weapons within space. As of February 2019, 108 countries are parties to the treaty. 23 others have signed the treaty but have not completely ratified it. India is a signatory to the treaty and ratified it in 1982. The Outer Space Treaty bars states from placing weapons of mass destruction in Earth's orbit, installing them on the moon or any other celestial body, or otherwise stationing them in outer space. It exclusively limits the use of the moon and other celestial bodies for peaceful purposes. It also prohibits their use for testing weapons of any kind, conducting military maneuvers, or establishing military bases and installations. However, the treaty does not prohibit the placement of conventional weapons in orbit. The treaty states that exploration of outer space shall be done to benefit all countries and that space shall be free for exploration and use by all countries. It also explicitly forbids any government to claim a celestial resource like the moon or planets. States are liable for damages caused by its space objects. It was the onset of domestic space programs during the Cold War that propelled the official creation of international space policy. The Outer Space Treaty is formed on the basis of international space law. It is the body of law governing space-related activities, encompassing both international and domestic agreements, rules and principles. Parameters of space law include space exploration, liability for damage, weapons use, rescue efforts, environmental preservation, information sharing, new technologies, and ethics. The origins of space law date back to 1919, with international law recognizing each country's sovereignty over airspace directly above their territory, later reinforced at the Chicago Convention in 1944. The Soviet Union's 1957 launch of the world's first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, directly spurred the United States to pass the Space Act, paving the way for creating the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. Because space exploration requires crossing transnational boundaries, it was in this era that space law became a field independent from traditional aerospace law. However, the use of space has increased dramatically since the Cold War. Everyday activities from telecommunications to financial markets to civilian navigation rely heavily on space infrastructure. Protecting these space assets is important given that their destruction would not only affect the military but also effectively cripple economies.
As I said, today the entire life of any modern country is dependent on satellites, the communications, the military systems, entire networking, the monitoring of what is going on, disaster management, environment, everything is monitored through satellites. If the satellites of a country are destroyed or by some other means you are able to deny that country access to its satellites, it is a big disaster for the country.
The prime danger to these space assets are anti-satellite weapons. Although technically the treaty does not allow these types of weapons, but the fact is that these have been developed at times in the past and may be done so even in the future. In order to protect these assets, it may become necessary to claim zones around these space assets as national territory to protect them, but such a proposal is against the principles of the Outer Space Treaty. There is the additional danger of terrorism. Terrorist activity has become increasingly sophisticated and it is necessary to develop the means to curb it, but that would require more military activity in space, something the Outer Space Treaty discourages. The Outer Space Treaty mainly focuses only on countries, and many private companies have exploited this to sell plots of land on celestial bodies like the moon. The Outer Space Treaty, like all international law, is technically binding to those countries who sign up to it. But the obvious lack of space police means that it can't be practically enforced. However, it is interesting that over the 50 years of its existence, the treaty has never actually been violated. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In the backdrop of the Cold War and perceived threat of strikes from space, both United States of America and the erstwhile USSR worked on the anti-satellite weapons program. America went on to become the first country to acquire the technology in 1959. In our next report, let's look at the history of the ASAT technology. Anti-satellite weapons are rare, high-tech and risky to test. The technology is complicated, involving highly reliable surface-to-air and converted ballistic missiles and long-range radar and tracking systems. Before India, only 3 countries possessed the technology to destroy an object in orbit.
Only 3 more countries have the capability to engage satellites: Russia, America and China. India is now the 4th nation in the world which has this capability.
The United States of America tested anti-satellite weapons in October 1959, when satellites themselves were new. According to the Federation of American Scientists, an air-launched ballistic missile was fired from a B-47 bomber of the US Air Force at an Explorer 6 satellite. The program was called Bold Orion. It was designed as a nuclear-tipped ballistic missile repurposed to attack satellites. The Soviet Union was the second country to test fire the ASAT technology. It began research into anti-satellite weapons in the 1950s, but the first test of an ASAT system was conducted in 1963. Unlike the US strategy of relying on missiles, the Soviet Union adopted a co-orbital method, which involved launching a killer satellite that would enter the same orbit as its target and approach it for destruction. At least 20 tests of the co-orbital ASAT system were reportedly conducted by the Soviet Union, recording both successes as well as failures. In 1985, America tested the AGM-135, launched from an F-15 fighter jet, destroying its own satellite called Solwind P-781. The third country to enter the anti-satellite arena was China. In January 2007, it destroyed an old weather satellite in a high polar orbit. It created the largest orbital debris cloud in history, with more than 3,000 objects, according to the Secure World Foundation, a group that advocates sustainable and peaceful uses of outer space. A year later, in 2008, the United States carried out Operation Burnt Frost, using a ship-launched SM-3 missile to destroy a defunct spy satellite. There were no tests for more than 1 decade. On March 27, 2019, India became the 4th country to acquire such a specialized anti-satellite technology.
Certainly it has increased India's space power, because today, with the launch of our ASAT, we have demonstrated to the world that we have the capability to intercept any satellite. So, no nation should mess up with my space objects. My means India's space objects, because they are doing lot of service. They are doing military service, they are doing civilian service. So in any conflict, there is a possibility that some nation may become so desperate that it can kill my satellite. In that event, what should be my answer? My answer would be to kill his satellite. That's why we have now created a deterrent, and this deterrent will not allow the other or the enemy countries to take such a chance.
Although some countries like Israel are also working towards strengthening their assets in outer space. The country possesses the Arrow 3 or HEDS 3 anti-ballistic missile, which provides exo-atmospheric interception of ballistic missiles. Experts believe it could be adapted for anti-satellite role in future. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Well, so that's it from us today in In-Depth. We'll be back same time tomorrow with an analysis on some other subject. You can also watch our episodes online on YouTube and Twitter and send us your feedback and suggestions. Thank you very much for your time.